Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Miss Bimbo. I'm a Nigerian trained pharmacist and a UK care assistant. In this video, I am very delighted to tell you that I've got good news for overseas trained pharmacists who are in the UK or who aspire to one day come into the UK to become licensed to practice as qualified and licensed pharmacists in the UK, because the GPHC, which is the regulatory body that regulates and inspects pharmacy practice in the UK, has come up with something exciting, and I hope that you sit back and watch this video to the end. So on the 22nd of February 2024, the GPHC, which is the General Pharmaceutical Council in the UK, held a meeting where they proposed to introduce 3 new pathways through which overseas trained pharmacists can come into the UK and then get their conversion done and start practicing as qualified pharmacists in the United Kingdom. There's an article here that I'm going to be reading out to you. It says that currently those who have qualified as pharmacists in a country outside the European Economic Area, that is the EEA, are subject to a conversion program that takes at least 2 years. But now the regulator is planning to introduce a 3-route system that promises to drastically shorten the process needed for many overseas trained pharmacists to register in the UK. Now, let me take you back. The UK is still in shortage of pharmacists at the moment, because if you go to many of these community pharmacies, or let me just say some of my friends who are currently practicing as pharmacy dispensers in UK community pharmacies, they keep saying that they are short-staffed, they are overworked, and they need more hands. So this is to tell you that at the moment, the UK is still in shortage of pharmacists, either in the NHS or in the community setting. It says here that the current health workforce is not sufficient to meet the demands of the population, meaning the significant increases to the number of new registrants are needed to deliver the NHS workforce plan published in June. However, the demand for OSAP places is high. So for an overseas trained pharmacist to come to the UK to become licensed to practice as pharmacist in the UK, we need to go through what is called the conversion program, and it involves 1 year OSAP training in the university. That's a master's program where you need to spend 1 whole year. If you are doing MSc and if you are doing PGD, you need to spend 9 months, and you have to pay the school fees as an international student, which costs nothing less than thousands of pounds. So it is not in any way cheap. It takes time and it consumes a lot of money. So if you are coming into the UK to do OSAP, you need to spend 1 year doing OSAP, and the following year you have to do the pre-registration training, which is like a placement where you get to work and then you earn some token, like the minimum wage, for a year, and then you acquire the practical know-how on the job. You learn on the job, after which you have completed the pre-registration training, making 2 years with the OSAP. You will now put in for your pre-registration exam, apply for it, and write your exam, and you've got 3 attempts at the exam. If you pass the exam, then you are qualified and you are licensed to practice in the UK as a pharmacist. If you fail the exam, you've got 3 attempts at the exam. So it's a lot of things involved in becoming licensed to practice in the UK. If you're coming with your pharm, for instance, from Nigeria, you're not going to come to the UK and automatically start practicing as a pharmacist. You are not recognized as a pharmacist, unlike maybe if you're coming as a nurse and you have done your OSCE, or you are coming as a medical doctor, you've done your PLAB 1 back home and you got an employment to come and do your PLAB 2, and then like that. It's way easier for those category of professionals. But for pharmacists, you have to spend a minimum of 2 whole years, of which you still need to write an exam, and if you fail the exam, you start to write it again, and you've only got 3 attempts, after which you fail, you cannot even attempt it again. It says here that demand for OSAP places is high. The council papers reported that 1,644 OSPAP applications had been submitted since 2021, and that nearly 2/3, which is 65% of the applications, were from students that qualified in India, Pakistan, and Nigeria. It further went on to say that the council papers note that the waiting list for people waiting to take an OSPAP course is several hundred people long. Like, it's hundreds of people long. The queue is long, and that there is a lack of capacity among the universities that offer the course. So currently, there are just 4 universities currently offering the OSPAP within the entire UK. That is the Aston University, the University of Brighton, the University of Hertfordshire, and University of Sunderland. The University of Hertfordshire's website warns that 2024 entry interviews capacity for OSPAP is reached, while the University of Sunderland states that it's not currently processing any new applications. The regulator's information page for the prospective international registrant also makes it plain that the places on OSPAP courses are in high demand, which courses starting in autumn 2024 already oversubscribed. So in July, the CD exclusively revealed that Aston University had increased OSPAP places by 75%, for which 2023-2024 intake from 40 to 70 places because of unprecedented demand. So in July 2023, some universities out of the 4 universities increased their capacity. I shared an interview with one of my friends that got admission into Hertfordshire. The capacity was increased, and they decided to take in 10 extra applicants, of which she was fortunate to be one of the 10. And she told us the rigorous interviews that they had to go through before they even chose the best 10 from those who applied. So it's way competitive to even get an OSPAP placement. And as you can see here, there are so many international pharmacists that are coming into the UK looking to become licensed in the UK, but they are limited because of the fact that the course is oversubscribed and lack of capacity. Imagine only 4 universities in the entire United Kingdom doing the conversion program. As a result of all of this, the GPHC has come up with a 3-tier route that can hasten the conversion process, and I'm going to be discussing these 3-tier routes in this video. If this is something you are interested in, why not like this video and subscribe to this channel, and also share this video out. According to the council papers, the proposed 3-route system is a more nuanced approach that would allow regulators to maintain standards and enable people to join the workforce more quickly. Route 1 would allow pharmacists that qualified in countries with very similar pharmacy education systems delivered in English, like pharmacists from Australia, New Zealand, and the Republic of Ireland, to work under supervision in a British pharmacy for 3 or 4 months before taking a practical assessment. So if you're applying from New Zealand, from Australia, or from the Highland, that's Dublin, you would only need to work under supervision in a British pharmacy for 3 to 4 months before you are allowed to take your pre-registration exam. Route 2 would apply to pharmacists from EFTA countries such as Switzerland and other countries with an education system that is broadly similar, but sometimes with a science bias. The GPHC said that would-be registrants via this second route would need a longer adaptation period and more professional activities assessed. The third route, which is Route 3, applies to those of us from Africa, like pharmacists who were trained in India, Pakistan, and in Nigeria. And it says that Route 3 for pharmacists from dissimilar countries like India, Pakistan, and Nigeria would require an extended period of orientation for candidate registrants. It's added. A year's worth of education and training is proposed for Route 3 candidates, which would combine study at a university and in-practice training, as well as the registration assessment. So this simply means that they are proposing that pharmacists from India, from Pakistan, from Nigeria would be able to write the pre-registration assessment within 1 year. Everything is going to be summarized into just 1 year program, including your pre-registration assessment. So after your GPHC adjudication and you already secured an admission at a university for your OSPAP, you would only need 1 year to do your OSPAP program and your in-house training, or how do they call it now, in-practice training, as well as your pre-registration exam. Everything is going to take place within just 1 year. So it's not going to take about 2 years or more anymore. So this is what the GPHC is proposing. And isn't that good news? I think this is because even the 1 year OSPAP is not really 1 year. There are so many breaks in between. I think it's just about maybe 20 something weeks altogether that you need to receive lectures. Other periods, you have to just do maybe assignments or research. You only go to school maybe 2 or 3 times in a week, depending on the university. So they can just put everything together, compress this 1 year program into a few months, and then you do your pre-registration training within this 1 year, and after which you will now write your pre-registration exam. So let's see the concluding part. The spokesperson for the GPHC told C&D that it hopes to complete the proposals and all the consultation this year, following approval by the GPHC Council on the 22nd of February. So they are hoping that everything will be rounded up by the end of 2024. So hopefully by 2025, it might come into practice. So he also says that the spokesperson said that countries would be allocated to routes after a consultation, adding that the approach is evidence-based and dependent on similarity or difference in education and training, and whether this is delivered in English. This is the end of the article, and I would really love to read your opinions in the comment section. If you are a foreign trained pharmacist outside of the UK, whether from Switzerland, from India, from New Zealand, can you please share your opinion in the comment section? And I would really love to read. Thank you, and I'll see you in my next video.